Imagine you could drag a pre-built grid layout onto your clip, use one slider to control the padding, and then press two buttons to get it to smoothly animate to a second layout. That's what WippGrid lets you do, and in this video, I want to show you the tool, show you some of the different controls, and a few of the different ways that the tool can be used. At the end, I'll talk about where you can get the tool, and then where you can find all the tutorials to learn about everything that this can do. So the first thing that I want to show you is how to set this thing up. So right here, I have clips from Casey and Alex's podcast. It is now called The Creative Jam. And then also an unreleased podcast from Tim as well as Matt. So we're going to be using footage from two different podcasts just so I have 4 video clips to show you some of the stuff that it can do. So the first thing we need to do is combine this together into a Fusion clip. So if I select all these clips, right click, new Fusion clip, now we can use this with WippGrid. Alright, but anyways, up in the Effects tab under Effects, we can find all of the different WippGrid layouts. And so WippGrid supports up to 6 video inputs, and you can see how many each layout's using by the first number in the tool name. So let's grab WippGrid 2, layout 1, drag this down and drop it on the Fusion clip, and now we have Casey and Alex talking to each other, and we can see both of them. Something important to know is that WippGrid does not generate a background on its own, so a lot of times I like to use something like Whip Background made from that, or in this case, I'm just going to move this up one spot and then grab a solid color and set that to be white. Now that helps us see the edges of the grid a little bit more. So a really cool part about WippGrid is the padding system. In the inspector, I can just grab the padding slider and bump this up, and it's going to add even padding in between the grid items and then around all of the edges. If you've done this yourself, you know how long that takes to do inside of Fusion or using the inspector controls on the edit page. And then the other really cool part about this tool is the corner radius. So by default, it's set to global, which means it's always going to make sure that all the grid items have the same visual amount of corner radius. So that means if I delete this and then come back to the effects and grab something like layout 4 and then 4 items with layout 2, so we have 4 videos, using the corner radius, it's going to make sure that these smaller grid items match the larger grid item and they all have that same rounding. But anyways, I'm going to delete that, and then we're going to come back over to the effects tab and then just grab WippGrid 2 layout 1. So most of the time you don't need to use the individual controls down here, but you can also use the on-screen controls to come in here and just move it around on the viewer itself, and then you can always come back and adjust the padding and it snaps it back to that default layout. Now in all of these frames, we have the option to scale the image in, we can move the image back and forth, and basically reframe it inside of that frame so that way we can see the part of the image that we want. We can also choose which media source is being used. So instead of Casey and Alex, if I wanted Tim and Matt, I could do 3 and 4 is a media source, and now I see them. And now in this case, I'd probably want to shift Tim over and shift Matt over just a little bit to keep them centered inside of the frame. Going over to the Style tab, there's a few different options. So the first thing we have is an outline, and so that'll just add in a nice outline. I can change the color right here, and then I also have a drop shadow. But the cool part about this is you can save your own style templates. Like once you go through and make the styles, you can save those. Then in the future, I could just press one button, like style 1, and it's going to load in that style preset and reprogram all of these controls. That's really nice if you edit a couple different podcasts, so you can save, 3 different styles and press one button to load in all those settings instead of having to, make a copy of WippGrid off to the side and then re-import all those settings. Where this tool gets really cool is the animation. So if I come over to the animation tab, we have a few different options. So the first one is static, which just keeps them, in the current grid layout. Then we have hold, which allows us to bring one of them up full screen, and I can choose any of these different video inputs. So that's like, one person's talking, you animate them full screen, and then you can hold them for a prolonged section. And then we have the full animation mode, which lets us choose, select one of the frames, and it's going to animate that from full screen, and then animate that down into its position. We can use the anim engine down here to change how long it takes, whether or not it animates out, and we also have real-time motion blur right down here, so it's motion blur that doesn't really add to the render time, so that way you get that silky smooth motion without having to wait hours for it to render. And now the workflow for this, maybe Tim started off by talking, now we animate him down so we can see Matt as well, and then at some point we want Matt to come back up full screen. So we'll split the clip here, and on this clip, instead of it animating frame 1 out, we're going to have it animate to frame 2. So that way it switches it around, camera Tim goes down, and then Matt comes up just like so. Then in the second version, we'd want to come to the animation tab, come to hold, and then just hold video 4. That way we have that seamless transition of bringing him up full screen, and we can keep him up as long as we want, and then we just split the clip when we want to animate him back down. But if I undo this a bunch, maybe that's not what we want to do. Maybe we want both of these guys to animate onto the screen right away. And in that case, we can use the move animation mode. So if I set this to be move, we have 3 different options. We just have a fade option, we have a zoom option, and then we have a slide option. And the slide has a fade as well. So we can change the distance that they're actually moving. We can change the angle that they're coming from to customize the direction. We have the overlap, so we can offset them a little bit. So when I press play on here, you can see both of them slide up kind of one after another. And again, we have that same animation control with the motion blur. It's just super smooth and works really well. All right, so we have them animate up onto the screen, but the really amazing part about WippGrid is the fact that we can animate between different layouts. So let's say we want to bring Casey and Alex onto the screen. If we split the clip right here, on the second version, we're going to add in a new WippGrid layout. Over in the effects library, I'm just going to grab WippGrid 4, layout 1, and then drag and drop this on the Fusion clip. What's happening right now is the first one is animating off because animate out is turned on, and then this one is just showing up. So we need to change that. In the first clip, it's as simple as doing capture A, and then in the second one, we want to do apply A to B. And not only is this going to do a custom animation to morph them around, but it's also going to bring over all of the styles from the previous clip, so that way that part matches. So if I do apply A to B, you can see this now has a shadow, it has corner radius, and it has that outline. Then if I go back, you can see it's turned off the animate out on this clip, and then it animates from that layout to the other layout. So in this case, we'd want to customize the animations just a little bit to make them look a little bit nicer. So if we come over to the animation tab, it's using the move mode to animate, the extra items on. So in this case, Casey and Alex. So we might want to take the slide angle and do 180. So that way it slides down from the top, just like so. We could turn off the slide fade, bring up the slide distance like that. And now we just have them slide down onto the screen, really seamless. And the best part is we can just keep doing this as many times as we'd like. If we split the clip again, we can delete this, and then we could use something like WippGrid 3, layout 2, and for some reason we're gonna get rid of Tim on here, so if we do media sort, let's put Matt up there, we can do capture A on the first one, and then apply A to B, and again, it's just gonna do a smooth transition, animating Tim off the screen. Goodbye, Tim. Something else WippGrid lets you do is make your own custom layouts. So right here, I just have a layout that I have a screen recording off on the left and then my camera on the right. And I just laid this out with the padding at 0. There's a full tutorial on how to do this. But if I come over to the presets tab and then just do save preset, now if I come back to the controls tab, this padding is going to update this new preset. I can save this as its own so it shows up in the effects tab, and it just lets you make your own layouts that all of these settings will work for. That combined with the A to B animation system is the best part about this tool. Now, like I said, this video doesn't go in depth on all of the controls, and there's still a lot to learn about WippGrid. So that's why I built the training library, which walks you through the installation, customization, and making your own grid layouts. That's linked in the description if you want to take a look at that before you buy, and it's always right at the top of the tools in the inspector. If you just press this training hub button, it takes you to all those videos in case you forget something or just want to learn something new. I do want to mention that this tool is built on a fuse. That means unlike normal Fusion macros, WippGrid will need to be installed on the system for it to work. You won't just be able to send the project to another system and have it work. That system also needs to have WippGrid installed. Again, check out the installation tutorial, it's really easy to set up. I also want to touch on the performance of the tool, as I know that's going to be a question many of you have, and I want you to know what to expect. This tool is way faster than the old version of WippGrid that was built using a macro, and much more consistent as far as speed goes. It's not going to be as fast as just laying stuff out in a grid on the edit page on your own. It's going to be a lot faster to set up than that, but it's not going to render quite as fast. The biggest time save of WippGrid is the time it takes to set up this for yourself. Building grids that look good takes a long time, especially if you want to animate it, add in stuff like drop shadows as well as an outline. So long story short, even if you only get 20 FPS for your playback, it's still going to be worth it in the time it saves you for setup and animation and styling and all of that kind of stuff. So check out the product page, check out the tutorials, and if you guys have any questions about this tool, don't hesitate to reach out. I think that this is the best way to create grids inside of Fusion, and I hope to continue making it better with free updates in the future. Thanks for watching, thanks for supporting me and the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.